Hello, hello. How is everybody doing this evening? Hello. 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 Ba-da, bump, 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 bump. Ba-da, bump, bump. Hello, my YouTube friends. How are you? Hello, Miss Melissa and Lucille. How are y'all doing? Okay, I got something to show you. We'll start working on this, and I'll show you, like, there's going to be parts. Okay? Ooh, thank you, Miss Nancy. But check this out. So this is what we're going to work on next week. And I'll show you really quick to get y'all excited about next week, and then we'll get on to... So we're going to work on this next week, and I'm going to tell you this, that on the beginning of the live, because we'll do this live, on the beginning of the live, okay, I have pre-recorded the prep work for this. So in order to see the prep work, you'll have to go watch the whole thing on YouTube, because we'll edit it on and add the prep work to the front of the video. Okay, but I'm going to show y'all how to make a custom, I have to show you from the side, cake stand. Okay? And I showed y'all the boxes and stuff, so I just kind of wanted to show y'all the progress so y'all get excited. I'm in the painting stage of it. And then y'all will join me next week and we'll decorate it. And I'll show you what we're going to do. Alright? Fun, fun? And I have funny stories tonight while we're working on the wreath, because I haven't been home. Like, I literally just got home. Back home, I've been gone since Tuesday. I literally just got back home 2 hours ago. I didn't know if I was going to make it home to be live tonight. But I made it. So tonight, this evening, where is everybody? My thing is showing like nobody's here. What is going on? Where is everybody? Alright, so tonight we're going to make over the top wreath. Y'all want an over the top wreath? Are y'all in the mood for over the top? I know, where is everybody? I bet it's because because I don't go through the live event like everybody else does. Maybe I'll have to fix that. Alright, so tonight we are going to cut our mesh. We're going to start out cutting it 25 inches, 10 pieces, 25 inches. Okay? Is where we're going to start. Alright, so there's our 10 pieces. Because I'm cutting 2 rolls at the same time to make that go quicker. So there's our 10 pieces at 25 inches. Hello, Miss Rebecca. Welcome, welcome. My name is Jackie. I am with Jackie's Wreath and Things, and I'm one of the designers here for Unique in the Creek. Okay, so the next 10 pieces, we're going to cut them 20 inches. Hello, Shirley. Hello, Beck. How are y'all? Okay, so we've cut 10 more pieces, 20 inches. And as y'all know, border stripe mesh is one of my favorite meshes, so that's what we're going to use tonight. And I do have a box of goodies sitting over here. To go with the elf workshop shine, check this out, y'all. I have these cute little elf legs to stick around it. And then I have some peppermint pieces to put in. And then when you're doing something fun, y'all know how I feel about flex tube. You gotta bring it to the party, right? And we're gonna do this on the oval wreath. And to satisfy the quota, here it is, my 1 zip tie. And this 1 zip tie that I use it, I go ahead and put it on. Number 1, it helps me find the top of my wreath quicker when I'm looking for it. And it's also how we hang our wreath when we're done with it. And I'm just going to tell y'all, I never cut this part off because it's sharp and I know somebody's going to touch this. So I never cut this part off because I don't want to risk somebody cutting their hand. That's my little 2 cents there. Okay. So let me show you how I put my ties on. On the outside, these 2, and did every other. And then on the inside, between every other. Okay? And it's going to give you a total of 20 ties. Alright. So what I do is I'm going to do the outside of the board first. So I'm going to get my little pipe cleaners out of the way. And I'm going to open these up, get them ready to put my mesh in. And on the outside is where we're going to use the pieces of mesh that are 25 inches. Okay, so let me show you what we're going to do. This is what they basically call a value border mesh. So unfortunately, it does fray. All right. So what we want to do to prevent it from fraying in our wreath, come here. Hello, Miss Dawn. We're just going to roll this up one time. And that's all you really need to do. All right? And then how I ruffle, and if you're new at ruffling and making wreaths, sometimes it's if you have a cutting mat, that will help you. Another thing that will help you ruffle is if maybe you put something with weight on it so your mesh doesn't wander. Okay? But what I do when I ruffle is I take my fingers, see how I've got my whole hand basically across the mesh. Some people use their whole hand to bring it in, but I have these fingers down here and that guides my mesh. See how I've got my fingers out here? But it's not out here, kind of like under here. You can't see it, that's why I'm showing you out here. But I tuck my fingers and I'm using them to guide the mesh. These two fingers are going to do the rest of it. See? I'm just going to pull the mesh to you. Don't chase after the mesh. Pull it to you. I see some people like they're chasing the mesh across the board. You don't need to do that. Just pull it to you. Okay? And gather it up in your hands. Okay? And then I'm going to take this end with my hand and roll it up one time. And then I have my ruffle. Now, I put my ruffle in face up because it shows, to me, more design. And it makes your wreath fuller. How you put your mesh in kind of determines how flat your wreath will be. If you put it in this way, your wreath will be a little bit flatter. Okay? So this would be curl up, curl down. We're doing curl up. And then to put your mesh in, okay, because this is where I always check to make sure it's even down here. I don't worry about whether or not it's even up here because that doesn't matter. It matters down here at these two. So that's what I'm looking at, whether or not it's even down here. And then to put my mesh in so that I can tie my pipe cleaner tight enough, okay, is I take my little thumb and I push down on it. Okay? Like so. If you don't have good hand strength, okay? And you've bought kits from Lori, you usually have extra zip ties left, okay? What you can do, and it's kind of important the way that I make wreaths, that you use pipe cleaners, but a lot of people have difficulty getting the mesh down and as tight as possible. So what you can do is load a zip tie along with your pipe cleaner, and I'll show you in a minute. You can take this up through here and use the zip tie to tighten the mesh down. And I break them a lot because I'm pretty strong. Sorry about that. I have a common habit of breaking zip ties, y'all. And don't worry, I break pipe cleaners too because I get a little too heavy-handed. Oopsie. Okay? And then you'll just take cutters and cut the zip tie. Now, if that's what you want to do, is use the zip tie, okay? But I will explain to you why pipe cleaner versus zip tie, okay? If you want to use the zip tie to at least help you get the mesh on, take your zip tie after you put your pipe cleaners on. And then just load the zip tie and leave it open. to have it ready to accept your mesh. Okay? And then make your roll. Like I said, this is going to prevent the mesh from fraying. You don't have to do anything special when you're making a wreath the way I do. Okay, to prevent it from fraying, okay, just roll it up one time, and then ruffle, 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 and then I'm about, 2-3 inches from the end, and then I'm just going to roll, okay? Like I said, and then all you have to do, lay it in there, grab your zip tie, close it up, tighten it down just a little bit. If you're using a zip tie, tighten it down just a little bit, like so. Make sure your mesh is straight, okay? And then crank that thing on down. Alright? So now that you got your zip tie tied, and then just bring your pipe cleaner through, and you're going to give it just one twist. Alright? So that's how you ruffle. Alright? So now, we're going to get to the rock and roll portion, and I'm going to speed up. Just keep in mind, y'all, if you're new, I've been doing this for a very long time. And practice makes perfect. So, I've been gone, like I said, since Tuesday. Did y'all miss me Wednesday night? Dottie, if I look like I'm 21 years old, I'm going to reach through my phone and kiss you for the compliment. But I don't even think I look like I'm 21 anymore. This mesh would not work for a 49ers wreath. It's lime green, red, and white. But you can get red and gold trim for a 49ers wreath. So, like I said, and I got a story to tell y'all. Okay? So, a friend of mine was having surgery, and she's got 2 dogs. And the first night, that I was, well, 2 nights that I was, the first night I went up to, just to travel. So the next night I was in charge of babysitting dogs. Okay. And, y'all know I have small dogs, right? Lori's got some in stock that has the gold trim. And I think just the mesh by itself, Miss Charlotte, ruffled up real pretty with the 49er sign, good to go. You can do something that simple with this. Alright, so anyway, so y'all know I got little dogs. But I got a question. When your dogs beg, when your dogs go to beg, are they cute about it? My dogs are. My dogs are really cute about it. They give me the puppy dog eyes, and little Chica does what we call prairie dog. Hi, Miss Carrie on YouTube. Little Chica does what we call prairie dog, and Buster's got he's got the epitome of puppy dog eyes. He has the ASPCA face. Some of y'all know what I mean. Do you have big dogs, Miss Dottie? If you have dogs, tell me how your dog begs. And then I'll tell y'all what I experienced. Tell me how your dog begs. Tina, yours might relate to the story that I'm going to tell. All right, so we used 25-inch mesh on the outside. So on the inside, I'm going to cut, it was cut 20 inches. 25 inches on the outside, 20 inches on the inside. And when I put my mesh down, do y'all notice I don't fluff my mesh up? And I want to explain this really quick. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but I see people when they take their ruffles and they fluff it back up. I don't. I purposely lay my ruffles on top of each other because what I'm doing, and this is also a key to your ribbon looking like mine, because I don't know if you've ever noticed, but notice how mine's overlapping. I don't fluff it up. See, this is what, and it's overlapping. And I do that on purpose because I'm creating a channel for my ribbon to lay in. Okay? Because if you don't do that, you create, when you fluff it out, you create what I call the tulip effect. Because what ends up happening is your ribbon will stand up like this. Because your ribbon isn't as strong as the mesh, so the mesh will kind of smash it back in. So I'm using the mesh against itself to create a channel so that my ribbon will lay better. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing once I go to the outside, is I'm purposely laying the mesh on top of each other for the same reason. Alright, so anyway, so let me tell y'all what happened. So I'm watching these two dogs, and one would be more defined as a medium-sized dog, and the other one's a large dog, okay? They're both girl dogs. And they're not cute when they beg, y'all. They're not cute at all. They're flat out thugs. They beg by intimidation. Like thug. They are very thug like. I let them outside and they went to the bathroom and they did their thing and whatnot. Came back in the house and they both cornered me in the kitchen. I was closing the door, I was locking it, turn around, and they're both standing there staring at me, y'all. And I'm like, what? What do y'all want? And then all of a sudden they started barking, and they were barking at me like I invaded the house. Like they were barking like I wasn't supposed to be there. And I was like, did we decide all of a sudden I'm not supposed to be there? I didn't know what to do. So I kind of was like, did they turn on me all of a sudden? So then I go over and like, I get them dog treats and they're like, yep, that's what we wanted. I'm like, y'all some thugs. Y'all are some thug beggars. Like mafia like, begging, like getting their way through intimidation. I was like, that ain't even right. And what's funny is it wasn't the big one that started it. It was the smaller one. It was the smaller one. And then the one that was bigger just like fell in line. I have never, ever, and I've had big dogs. I have big dogs. I'm here to tell you I had a Great Dane, and I've had some big dogs in my lifetime. Okay? I have never, ever, like when the bigger dogs would beg with me, they'd give me the eyes and they'd give me this little paw. They'd raise their paw up on my leg and like, hey, or they would put their head on my knee. They would still do something cute. I have never seen thug-like behavior out of a dog in my life. Ever. Like dinner time, I wasn't moving fast enough when it was dinner time. Okay, well, I don't. I've never experienced it. Like I said, I've had big dogs. I've had some big dogs. Like I said, I had a Great Dane. I didn't know that's how that. I didn't know that like I didn't know that was a thing. Nobody ever warned me that dogs could be like thugs. I always thought that dogs used their cutesies to get their way. On the outside, I cut the mesh 25 inches. On the inside, it's 20 inches. Nobody ever warned me about that. Ever. I'm gonna tell you what, like I took pictures for my friend so she could see the face of intimidation that I got. And then I figured out why. I figured out why because Daddy came home, my friend's husband. He came home because he stayed on the first day of the surgery. Of course, that's where he needed to be. So I went up the next day to stay with her at the hospital. So he came home to be with the dogs. And I saw exactly why they were giving me the look and treating me the way that they did, because I did not do everything that they expected. I didn't know that when he took them outside, so it's his fault. It's his fault that these dogs were thugging it with me, because I don't do this with my dogs. Okay, they go outside. They don't expect anything in return but a love you and a pet and thank you. But with these dogs, he takes a treat and he pops it in half. He goes outside and gives them the treat, and then they go do their business. That's why, and they looked at me like I was an idiot. That explains why these dogs were looking at me like I was an idiot. Like, they were looking at me like I was an idiot the whole time. Well, now I knew why. The minute he came home and took them out, I was like, that's why they thought I was an idiot. That is exactly why. I couldn't figure out for the life of me. I thought I was doing everything right. I was making sure they had food, water. I was petting them, loving on them. Now I know. Because I just couldn't figure it out. I just wasn't speaking their dog language. Now I know for future reference. Break the treat in half. And yeah, okay. And I wish somebody would have told me about that sooner, because I tried to get them to go outside and they wouldn't go outside. And they would just stand there at the door staring at me, y'all, staring at me like I'm an idiot. I mean, literally, these dogs are sitting there looking at me like I'm an idiot because I'm trying to get them to go outside. And I was like, okay, apparently you don't need to go to the bathroom. Okay? 5 minutes later, they did need to go to the bathroom, and the one did it on the floor, and then I had to clean it up. If I'd have known the key, y'all, I would have, like, yeah, because nobody likes to clean up the doggy accidents, right? Have y'all ever had a dog look at you like you're an idiot? It's something else. And I consider myself a fairly intelligent person. Not according to those dogs. I was a blooming idiot for 2 days. They forgot to tell me some of the things that were in the instruction manual. Like, they told me how to mix their food and stuff at night, and they told me about the treats at night and brushing their teeth at night and making sure about they drink a lot of water after they eat. They told me all those things. They forgot the other parts. Like, dang. And believe me, it kind of wasn't funny, but it's funny now. I mean, I can always laugh about stuff later on. And I'm like, well, at least I know with, in the future, I didn't know I was breaking routine. I thought I was following the routine. I thought I was following, because I know how important routine is with dogs. And I don't like cleaning up doggy accidents. So I knew how important it was to stay on routine. Little did I know, I went off script because I wasn't told. Look, y'all, the one dog, she even likes to be tucked in at night, and I was tucking her in at night. I was fixing her bed up in her pillow, and I was tucking her in at night. I was doing what I was supposed to do. All the way I thought. I had never been more wrong in my life. I felt like a new parent again, y'all. That's the funny part of it all. I felt like a new parent again because the way they're sitting, it's kind of like sitting there having a kid cry, and you're trying to figure out for the life of you why they won't quit crying after you burped them, fed them, changed them, everything, and you're like, what else is there to do? And that's how I felt. I'm like, I took y'all out, I fed you. That's how I felt. I felt like the new parent again. And it got to the point, like, I finally messaged my friend's husband because of how they were looking at me. I was like, hey, I've done everything. Am I missing something here? Because, like, your dogs think I'm stupid. All right, y'all. So, we are going to cut ribbon. Ribbon! I love ribbon. And we've got one 2.5 inch ribbon. Right? That's okay. It's kind of like when a parent's worried about something else and they forget the little details, and then they sit there and go, oh, they'll figure it out. Oh, they'll figure it out. Right? Oh, I'm not angry, Miss Jeanette. I, I'm sorry if that seems like angry. I'm not angry. That's definitely not my angry tone. I'm sorry if it seems that way. That's kind of one of the things you lose if you don't see my face. I'm smiling. Okay, so what we have here is we have a 2.5 inch mesh with a snow drift, and we're going to use a 1.5, and we're going to layer these together, and we're going to cut 15 pieces. Look how pretty that's going to look. We're going to cut 15 pieces of each color, 14 inches long. So, alright. And what I'm using to do this, we're using the Measure Buddy, which is available also at uniqueinthecreek.com. Alright. 7, 8. And to keep from wasting, we're going to cut 8 pieces first, and then 7 pieces. Okay, so hey, Margaret, let me cut my ribbon, and I will explain to you why I cut my ribbon 14 inches. Fair, fair? Because once I get done counting, I can run my mouth. I was puzzled. I was perplexed. Like I said, I felt like the new parent, and I couldn't figure it out. Alright, so that's 15 pieces of that. We'll dovetail it in a second. And now we'll cut 15 pieces of the 1.5. I would, now that I know, Donna. Now that I know, it's kind of like being a parent the second time. Now that you know, it's a breeze, right? Now that you know what to do. Like, now I know. Okay. Because they're both super sweet dogs. This was just my first time. It's kind of like you know, if you've always seen how a kid behaves around his parents, well, that was my situation. Because you know, I'd never watched the dogs by myself before. I'd always seen them with mommy and daddy, and how they interacted with mommy and daddy, and so well behaved for mommy and daddy. And then here I am, and with sucker stamped across my forehead. They exploited it. They exploited it. They got more treats out of me actually than they normally get with mommy and daddy. And that's the same thing like a kid would do, right? They exploited it. I'm a dog lover. I got played, Donna. I did. I got played. Like I said, it's just like grandparents getting played, right? Sometimes grandparents get played. Hey, Angie. Well, that's how I look at it. If grandparents, you know, didn't enjoy getting played, they wouldn't love being a grandparent. Because, you know, come the end of the day, it is funny. Oh, that's right. I forgot today is your birthday, Angie. I did wish you a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Angie. I did do good, but I've drove a couple hundred miles since then coming home. They did. Same thing kids would do. Are you supposed to have chocolate after 10 o'clock? Well, my mom lets me. That was my situation. These are items sold separately, Miss Gale. Is Tina here? I thought I saw Tina come in. All right, y'all. So what we're going to do now, so number one, let me explain why I cut my ribbon the way I do. I got a couple things to explain before I move on for educational purposes. So I cut my ribbon 14 inches because I'm going to add other things to the wreath. And I want my ribbon to show after I add those other things, okay? So if you don't plan on adding anything else, if you want just ribbon and mesh for your mesh to show as well, you would only cut it 12 inches. I'll show you the difference. How about that? How about I show you the difference on how it looks so you understand. Let me cut a couple pieces real quick, 12 inches for those of you that are new, and I'll show you the difference on how it looks. Hello, Miss Tina. How are you? I'm sorry. I have a codependent relationship with Tina Kelly, y'all. I depend on her. I'm spoiled by Miss Tina Kelly. Okay, so this is the 12-inch ribbon. And this is the saying in life where a couple inches makes a difference. Alright, so we're going to take this and I'll put it in the pipe cleaner. And you'll see how this looks. So if you just wanted to do ribbon and mesh. So this will be shorter. And as you can see, it looks pretty cute. And it's going to pretty much so just lay the way that you put it because it is shorter. Okay? And you don't need to add anything else. Alright, so let's put the 14-inch ribbon in. And this is for those of you that have not seen me make a wreath before, so you can actually see the difference. Now, I'm going to be adding other things to the wreath, and I'm going to do this over a little bit. So my ribbon is going to be 14 inches. And as I add the ribbon initially, it's not going to look as good until I start adding the other things. And the other things is actually going to make the ribbon lay right. So you see the difference between 12 inches and 14 inches? This is going to come out past the mesh, where this is like on top of the mesh. And you can still see the mesh. So the mesh alone is going to create a good support system just for if you cut your ribbon 12 inches. If you cut your ribbon 14 inches, the mesh isn't enough of a support system. Okay? Now, this is the other reason why I use pipe cleaners instead of zip ties. Because using pipe cleaners versus zip ties, what happens when I use the pipe cleaners, it creates a layering effect. And it gives your wreath more depth. When you put the mesh, when you put the ribbon in with your mesh and zip tie at the same time, it bottoms out. And what ends up happening is it creates that tulip effect that I was telling you about. And that tulip effect looks, let me see, it looks something like this. And it doesn't lay the same. Okay? It sinks in with your mesh, and you really, to get your ribbons to lay like mine, you want your ribbon on top of your mesh. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? You don't want it pulled in with your mesh. You want it to lay on top. Also, the other reason that I use pipe cleaners is because I'm doing multiple layers. And I just don't want them all pulled in at the same time. It layers them up. And that's what creates the effect on these wreaths. That's why my wreaths look like they are made on a raised form, because I'm creating an effect of depth. And if you're pulling everything all the way down to the bottom of your board, it's going to look more flat. Does that make sense? I do not. I do not untie my pipe cleaners between layers because it would create that same effect. If I untied my pipe cleaner, it creates the same effect as if you put everything in a zip tie and cranked it down. So I do not untie because I don't want my ribbon pulled down into my mesh. I want my ribbon on top of my mesh so it will lay. Um, so if you really like the mesh, then don't just use a bow and put your goodies. You can do that. You don't have to put ribbon on your wreath, Miss Betty. You can just use a mesh base and add goodies to it. Because some people really like the prettiness of the mesh. If y'all want, I can show you how to make a mesh wreath without the ribbon tails. I can do that for y'all. Now just know I'm going to use mesh and flex tube when I do that. Sometimes y'all got to ask me to do stuff. I've been doing this for so long that sometimes it's kind of like forgetting all the things that you know because I quit using some of the stuff that I know how to do. Because as I've been doing them for so long, I changed. I evolved forward on how I make wreaths. Oh, hello, Miss Vanna. How are you? like I said, if y'all remind me, Monday we're gonna, not Monday, Wednesday next week, we're going to do the cake stand. I'm gonna decorate that for y'all. And don't forget, there is an addendum that we're gonna add on after the live and show y'all all the prep work because I've recorded it. Awesome, Cindy. Did you post it somewhere and tag me in it so I could see it? I love seeing y'all's wreath after. Well, post it, and are you in the group Unique Wreath Creators? I'm getting tongue-tied, y'all. I'm exhausted. I haven't had much sleep the past few days, and I'm starting to get all tongue-tied. Y'all ever get tongue-tied when you get tired? Okay, so Lynn, what I did is the two-part of it, I recorded the first part of it for y'all. Okay, the prep work, because the prep work took some time, and instead of y'all just sitting here, that way you can speed it up. So I recorded the prep work for y'all. So after I do the live of decorating it, either Lori or I will pull the video down from YouTube and edit it and add the prep work on and then put it back. Because like I said, I recorded it. Hello, Lori. I literally got home 2 hours before I went live. And you about know how far Nashville is from my neck of the woods. Because you drove it from Murray to Nashville. We'll add 45 minutes to that. She, she's doing well as can be expected. You know what I mean? Laura, do you have a link for the unique? I can't even talk straight anymore. The group. Tina Kelly, can somebody post a link for the Facebook group for people to post their finished wreaths? And I did that wrong, y'all. That's how tired I am. Okay, we want to do this every other. I'm going to have to undo what I've done real quick. Because the ties are closer together, we were just going to put one of each ribbon every other. Because you see how the ribbon's bunching up and it's like a little too close together in the center because the ties are closer together. So let me fix this really quick. Thank you, Tina Kelly. You missed my story, Lori. You would have actually got a kick out of it. All right, let me fix this. Okay, so like I said, because the ties are closer together in the center, as you can see, you only need one piece of ribbon per tie, so that's why we're going to alternate them. How's your puppy doing, Lori? Hello, Purple Petal. How are you this evening? Um, no, I'm not going to Crafters Convention. As much as I'd like to see some of my friends and whatnot with my back issues, it's just better if I stay home right now. I'm afraid I'd start hurting so bad I'd become a killjoy. And I'd end up disappointing people. I think she popped in and out, Lynn. Greg, can you hand me my coffee? I forgot to bring it around here. Okay, y'all. And as some of y'all know, once we get the base of the wreath made, it kind of goes fast after that. Hmm? Can I have some more? Okay. I always kind of reference making a wreath like building a house. Okay? You want, when somebody's building you a house, you want to have a firm foundation for your house to be built on, right? Because if you don't have a firm foundation for your house to be built on, when you add on the other stuff, it's just going to crumble and fall, right? So with me, this is my foundation, and I want my foundation to be nice, and I want everything from start to finish to look good. Make sense? Because y'all saw my ruffles. Y'all see how this goes. So if somebody was to take my wreath apart piece by piece by piece, the mesh is pretty, my ribbons are pretty. So layer by layer, I know that it looks good. Okay, and I'm not having to worry about covering up bad craftsmanship. Kind of like if you had a bad foundation on your house. You wouldn't be happy if they tried to cover it up, right? So that's kind of how I approach building a wreath. Make sense? Alright, so next up, this is Flex 2 for some of you that don't know. And I cut my Flex tube 24 inches. I lost count and I'm not too sure how much we're going to put in the wreath. But I know for sure we're going to put it around the outside. Once I put the sign on and the bow, we'll decide if we need it in the center, and I can cut some more. Okay. But for right now, what we're going to do is we're going to put one of each color on the outside. I'm going to show you the difference on how I do this. Okay, tonight we're going to do open end, and then we're going to take the other color and we're going to put opposites. Okay, we're going to put close end, open end. We're going to do those opposite, like this. Okay, and the reason we're doing it like this is because this kind of makes it look a little bit more fun when the ends are open. It kind of adds a little bit more of a whimsical look. I don't know if you're going to be able to see the difference, but see how the mesh just kind of, instead of having the loops like the bow, it has the tails out here. No, it just looks that way because of how it, but no, I'm not. But you see how it looks more whimsical. I'll show you what it looks like if you do it like a bow, like I do sometimes. If you take both ends, like so, together, it just doesn't, I'll have to hold my hand on it because I don't want my ends to get mushed. Can y'all see the difference on how this one looks a little bit more whimsical with the ends sticking out? As opposed to this one, it looks formal. So that's why I'm doing it different. Alright, so what we're going to do, opposite. Thank you, babe.
Be careful.
And then fold it in half. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's the fun about flex tube. Like so. And the flex tube is what starts holding your ribbon in place. And you'll notice that as I go around. Alright. And here's where I rock and roll and I go faster. 24 inches is how long I cut mine. Now, if you wanted to do just ribbon and just flex tube, okay, you can cut your ribbon 12 inches and your flex tube 22 inches. I'm not missing ribbon in the middle, I promise y'all. Because in the middle, I used just one in each tie. one piece of ribbon. I didn't use two, I just used one piece every other. I buy jute flex tubing. You can get it from Lori. Jute flex tubing, and she just got some of the metallic flex tubing. She just got some of that in as well. The other place that I buy it is Craft Outlet, and sometimes, every now and then, Dollar Tree has some pretty colors in. I always tell people, if you haven't ever used FlexTube and want to try it, Dollar Tree has smaller packaging of it. What you buy from Craft Outlet and Lori it's 30 yards, and the way they sell it at Dollar Tree, it's smaller packaging for you to just try it and see if you like it before you get, make a huge investment. But I promise, like, once you see FlexTube in action in person, you'll love it. Especially when you're doing, whimsical wreaths. That's really when I add it, is when I'm doing what I call very fun, whimsical creations. But Lori just got a bunch of FlexTube in. So what I'm doing is I'm not opening, but I'm creating my next layer of depth. And see, that's why, the other reason, because a lot of people are like, why do I use pipe cleaners? It's because it takes the same amount of time, and it's sometimes a little difficult to put all these layers together at one time. And with using pipe cleaners, if I decide I can add this, for me, and I'm not knocking anybody, like, if you can use zip ties and rock it, rock on, my friends. I'm just telling you what I prefer. It's just easier for me, because this is how I've been doing it, and it creates more depth to layer up. And I can change my mind. If I want to add ribbon bows later on as part of the design, well, my pipe, I can just tie it in with my pipe cleaner. That way I don't have to dig through the mesh and add another zip tie. It does, doesn't it, Sue? It's amazing, like, how thin but it adds a lot. It's like wanting to add picks to your wreath, but not spend a lot of money. You know, how people add picks to wreaths, but sometimes, picks can be a little bit too expensive. But you can add flex tube, and it adds just so much to a wreath. And it's not as expensive as adding a bunch of picks. If y'all are going to make me make just a mesh wreath, I need to get some of that really pretty striped mesh that I love by itself with the white stripe. I need to get some of that. Oh, I've been all the way around. Okay, that's what I got left over from going on that. Okay, so I've been all the way around. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to make a bow. Have y'all seen those um cabinet knob covers? The peppermint ones. Have y'all seen those? And how expensive they are? Alright, so we're going to make a fairly large bow because we're making a fairly large wreath. Y'all, there is lots of bow tutorials on YouTube. I've done a couple. And they're really good slow tutorials. This is the easy bow maker. There's lots of tutorials out there for that. So I'm going to kind of rock and roll through this tonight. I'm going to show y'all something. I'm going to show y'all something that's cheaper. Miss Sharon, by any chance, do you have a Cricut? Okay, because this is a 1.5 I'm putting on my bottom layer, I'm going to do 2 loops on each side. Okay, well, Miss Sharon, you might love me for this or you might hate me. But I'm telling you, it's genius. Because my next question is, are you the kind of person that right before the holidays you do a deep cleaning of your kitchen? Whatever you usually do, babe. I don't know what you normally do. And my brain is too fried. I'm on brain exhaust right now. Okay, so I'm going to do another layer of red. See, most people, and I do the same thing, Sharon, and because I leave my Christmas decorations up for a while, because, you know, we went through all that effort, so people are going to stare at those things for a while, and because, you know, we have family coming over and whatnot, we do a deep cleaning. Sometimes we even go as far as taking the knobs off of our cabinets, because that might be our once a year good cleaning of our cabinets. No, I didn't, Lynn. I didn't have the time to read it that I thought I would. So this is leftover ribbon from another wreath that I showed y'all to make. And we're going to do 3 loops of it. See, and that's what most people do. So, And I think for some people, that's their once a year deep cleaning for their kitchen. They save it to you know, some people do it in spring, but I do my kitchen at the holidays. Because, you know, that's when family's coming over. Right? So check this out. So this was my idea, and I got these off of Amazon. They're here on my work table somewhere. There they are. I found them. And the people that created these covers are probably going to be upset with me for showing y'all this because it's so much cheaper. Run and get you some red glitter permanent vinyl. Red glitter permanent vinyl. And then order yourself some plain white cabinet pulls, my friend, because these are dirt cheap. And you can get these in several different sizes. You can get them pretty big, and of course, you know, that's going to depend on the cost. But what I got the ones that were flat as possible, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Cricut with the permanent vinyl, and I just need the red, and I'm going to put that on top of here. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Now, y'all are either going to think that's a good idea, or you're going to be like, oh. I'm telling you, those drawer pulls in white, man, y'all, they were cheap. Cheap. Amazon. Okay, so. I think tonight, where'd my sign go? I think tonight we're going to put the bow in the very middle of the wreath down here. I'll show them to y'all when I get them done. Okay, and where I'm going to put my bow, we wanted to set up high. Y'all saw how much distance there was. So I want to make sure that I set it up high. So I'm going to put my bow right here. And for those of you that own a Cricut, you might want to consider selling something like that. Because really, y'all, it's not that much labor involved. You just have to put them on. And you can offer them in sets of 12, 24, and 36. For far less than. And for those of you that have your own business and stuff, a lot of people are searching those right now. So you would come up in Google search. I think it would be a hot seller for people that don't want to, that want that look, but don't want to pay as much for the covers. Y'all know what I mean? And I think for those of you that do craft shows, you could have examples of that and take custom orders. You know, you don't have to take sets with you, but you can have an example set for people to custom order, and then you can ship to their house after the craft show. No, that's the shorter one. Let me have that one. You know what you could do, Sharon, if you could find gingerbread colored vinyl? You know how little gingerbread cookies with icing, like the snowflake ones? You could do something like that. That'd be super cute. Well, my friend that I decorate her house, I got that idea, and she bought some pulls too for me to do for her kitchen. All right, to put our sign on, we're going to use a staple gun. And a couple of pipe cleaners. And the size staple that I use is 1/4 inch. And well, I don't do craft shows. But I have lots of ideas for things that you can sell at craft shows and can take custom orders on. All right. I always tell people that if you do a lot of craft shows, that you can take an example of a real custom wreath with an initial or something like that, because you can't carry every initial, and you can kind of like do a build your own wreath, show an example, and bring your own kind of like bring your own ribbon swatches of choices of ribbon they can pick from to custom order their own wreath. Because you may not have something exactly like somebody likes, because you can't make all the wreaths for people to see. But what you can do is bring ribbon swatches so people can see the different possibilities of what you could make. You could also bring 50-yard rolls of ribbon with you, especially if you're doing craft shows right now. You could display 50-yard rolls of ribbon with different types of bows and how much you would make a bow for out of that ribbon. Like have 3 different sizes of bows to display and the different price level for the bows. Because most of us have ribbon racks, right? Especially if you're doing craft shows and stuff like that. You've been doing it for a while, you got a ribbon rack. So just take a ribbon rack with you and some 50-yard rolls of ribbon. Show people the kind of ribbon, and they can pick their own ribbon for a bow. And the different sizes and whatnot will be different price levels. One-of-kind wreath originals, they sell really, really well. Okay, so there is nothing wrong with this wreath the way it is, right? Look how cute that is. Just a sign and bow, right? Cute, cute, right? So you wouldn't really have to do anything else to this wreath, right? So at this point, you have a very beautiful wreath, y'all, or you get to Jackie-fy it and go over the top. Okay? Which is what we're going to do. And I especially show this more and more this time of the year for those of you that do craft shows to help you have different price levels of stuff to offer in your booth. Some people are like, well, when do I stop? When's it sellable? So I try to do that more like right now. And sometimes during the spring, show y'all examples of you've got a sellable product. And I do a lot of craft show quickies too. But since it's an elf workshop, I thought we would add some elf legs to cutesy it up, right? Now, Lori, I don't know if she has them in yet. Is Tina still here? Tina might be able to look really quick. Lori gets in these little elf butts that say naughty, nice, and I tried. That looked pretty cute with this sign too. Lori has this sign in stock, y'all. And I think I saw him the other day. I can't remember, but I think she's got the elf booties in stock. And another great place to shop, if Lori doesn't have the stuff, you can go to, y'all write this one down, theribbonshed.com, because she carries Unique in the Creek boards as well, and some really cute stuff. So you can always check her if Lori doesn't have it in stock. You can check the Ribbon Shed, and she might have it too. Okay, so these are actually wooden sticks on this one. There's two ways we can go about this. One, I can cut this stick down and hot glue it, or we can pull this out and take a pipe cleaner and tie it in. The choice is yours. So if you don't like using hot glue, some people don't, all you have to do is cut the stick off and then add a pipe cleaner. Okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the stick down. Okay? And then I'm going to put some hot glue on the end of my stick, and then I'm going to use my pipe cleaner to just kind of back it up and secure it. I think I want to put my peppermints on first, though, because they're bigger. Lori has these as well. And like I said, they have them at the Ribbon Shed, too. So these, you can also, they are styrofoam. So these, if you don't like using hot glue, these are styrofoam. You can put a pipe cleaner, I'll show you. You can put a pipe cleaner in these, I'll show you how. I'll just show you. How about that? What kind of apple square is a good investment? What do you mean? I don't know what you mean. Okay, so this has a wire tie, like if you're going to hang it to, and we're going to cut that off. We don't need that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to poke a hole right here. There's several ways that you can put a pipe cleaner on, y'all. I'm going to tell you the reason I poke a hole is like just keep down the revolving cost. And I'm going to kind of do it about a quarter of the way up on a slant in. And then I'm going to bore it out a bit so I can see it. Do you have PayPal? And then all you have to do is squirt some hot glue in there and then stick your pipe cleaner in. Like so. And then we'll do that with all 3 of them. Like I said, some people don't want to use hot glue, and that is perfectly fine, my friends. I'm all about teaching y'all and helping y'all within your comfort zone of the things that you like. It is. And there's several different card readers, but do you have PayPal? You can get a PayPal card reader for free if you have a PayPal business account. But I'll tell you what I did just to hedge my bets, because I was a vendor at Crafters Convention, and just to make sure nothing ever slowed down, okay, I had a my PayPal one, and just in case their website went down for whatever reason, I had one from Square. So I had 2 different card readers. The one that PayPal sent me for free was pretty nice. You could swipe and use the chip reader. It had a chip reader too. So either way. Okay, so I want my peppermint to sit right about here in my wreath. So I'm going to pull these up out of the way because I want my peppermint to kind of go underneath them. Use my magic tool. Get my first pipe cleaner. Pull that through. And then here in a second, I'll show you where I put that. And then once I get my flex tube back up out of the way, I have one of the little ones. The square one was the little one that I attached to my phone. The one that I had through PayPal, Bluetooth up to my phone. It didn't have to attach to it. Hold on. Okay, so here is where I attached it. So here's my red pipe cleaner. So I did this one with white. So I went here and here. And then I'm going to tie it to secure it. And then I pop my pipe cleaner right back through. My sign, here are the tan pipe cleaners. I attached it here and here. Well, the ones that I got were free. I didn't have to pay for them, and they were nice. So I think people that go to vendor events expect to see something that's attached to your phone and whatnot. What I'm using is what's called a darning needle or a yarn needle. Lori sells them on the website. So when you're shopping for your supplies, grab one. The candies I'm using, they're about 6 inches. See, Lynn, I almost forgot to answer your question, but I didn't. I think I know where my PayPal reader is. Exactly. And I'll show you what it looks like. But all I had to do was Bluetooth it up to my phone. And the other reason I did that is some people have different types of payments they prefer. And Square and PayPal are the most recognized ones, so that's the other reason I had both of them, because some people might be like, do you have Square? Yeah. But nobody has ever asked me, so there you go. The only thing I've heard people ask are, do you take credit cards? Yes, I do. I sure do. And that's the extent of it. Ever. So if you got a PayPal account, I would just get the free one. Okay, so we just added the 3 peppermints. See how cute that is? Right? So really you wouldn't need to do anything else. Okay? So at any point in time, like, you want to stop, or you can keep going. And you can add the elf legs, which is what I'm going to do, because that was my plan, right? And I'm going to use hot glue to do that. So we're going to get pretty thick and heavy with the hot glue. And just for security measures, to keep it from wiggling, and then I'm going to tie it with my pipe cleaner as well. I think it's just going to add that little elf whimsy to it. I think I got these at one of my local Christmas stores, and they don't sell online. That's why I recommended the elf butts. As opposed to the legs. And it would be just as cute, and then they would say, naughty, nice, I tried. No, they won't, because I hot glued them, and then I tied around the stick with the pipe cleaner. The glue is going to keep them from waggling around, because they actually stick to the glue sticks to the unique in the creek board as well. So nope. They won't flop down. Y'all, I'm like, at Christmas, I make a lot of elf wreaths. See how cute that is, my friends? They are stuffed really well, y'all. Really well. Didn't see? No flopping. All right. Ow, my legs are stuck to my seat. Oh my. Yes, Buster. I'm just about done, sir. And then, these are a Hobby Lobby special, my friends. Now, look, I want to show y'all something. See how thick that is? You can actually cut and make this into, because see there's a point right here? So you can actually cut and make this into toothpicks. And I'll show you that really quick, so it'll be a little bit thinner and not as thick, because I think the thinner it is, the more whimsical it looks. See that? So I like it to be a little bit thinner. See what I'm talking about? Let me pull that up so y'all can see the little distance between the two. So I'm going to cut really, really close here. Push those back. And I'm going to cut that. And then that way it thins it out a little bit. See how thick that is? And they're not very spaced far apart. But cutting them thinned it out, and now it looks a little bit more whimsical. This one, I should have pulled it apart, and it would have done that. Because sometimes you can pull these apart. The peppermint candies are about 6 inches. I should have pulled this one apart. They're about 8 inches long. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these behind the legs. We could just hot glue these in because they're super lightweight. And that's going to create just a little bit of whimsy. Because right now, to me, the legs look like they're kind of hanging out there. So I'm going to go in behind the legs and stick that in there. To create a little bit of whimsy behind the legs. Kind of like the legs are bursting out. It's kind of like making a burst effect out of your wreath with that. And then I'm going to put one more set here and one more set there to balance the wreath. I hate telling y'all, I hate telling y'all how much I charge for a wreath, because I charge for a wreath based on my years of experience. So my years of experience allows me to charge more. Because I'm charging a professional fee. And I feel like if I charge you, tell you how much I charge for something, and then you try to charge as much. See, I have a built-up clientele. It kind of makes things a little bit different. And I don't like getting anybody discouraged. Okay? But a wreath like this is going to be about $124 what I charge. But like I said, I've been doing this for a while, y'all. I have built up a reputation for my quality of product and whatnot. Well, depends on, for me. Some people say there's like a general formula to do it. I don't use that formula because that doesn't work really. Because you have to build up a clientele, right? People have to know the quality of your product. I always tell people, like starting out, so depending on how much you make for wreath, I always recommend that you're in a learning phase. And so when I was in the learning phase and I first started, I charged $25 above my materials to recoup my cost, get paid for my time, and so I could make another wreath. Because I was learning. It was more important for me to sell it and be able to buy more materials, kind of thing. But that was, that's how I did it, y'all. And then as the demand for my wreaths went up, then that said, okay. And so I went up on my price. And then I went up on my price as the demand for my wreaths went up. Ta-da! Elf Workshop, my friends. Cute, 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 cute. You like it? Alright, y'all, that is it for me. I'd have to, okay, so, starting in September, we're going with the change, y'all. Starting in September, okay, I will be live on Wednesdays. That's standard. I'll still be live on Wednesdays, but I will be live every other Saturday now. And if you don't see me on Saturdays, you'll see Angie on Saturdays. So I'll be live on Saturdays every other. Still be live on Wednesday, but we're switching me to Saturday. Alright? Alright, y'all. Y'all have a good weekend. Thank you for hanging out with me. Oh, let me see if I can find my reader real quick. It's right here if I have it. Hold on a second. I have what I call my tech box. And it's not in here. Nope. But something I am looking for is in here, so I'm going to grab it out. Okay. Yeah, I don't have it right here available. That's my tech box of my tech. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great rest of your weekend. Thank y'all for hanging out. I'm going to go eat. Okay? And then I'm going to get some rest. Miss Susan, so we're not doing a part 2 to a wreath. This Wednesday, I started it already, but I'm going to show you how to customize a cake stand. And I'll explain further on Wednesday. This is going to be a really cool do-it-yourself project. And that's actually the do-it-yourself project that I'm showing you. If you enjoy making it and it looks like fun to you, it's really something you're going to be able to sell. Alright? Alright, y'all. Y'all have a great rest of your weekend. I will see y'all again Wednesday. Bye, y'all.